And now, here to discuss the effects of the climate crisis on Indonesia, please join me in welcoming the Senior Advisor for the Coordinating Ministry for Maritime Affairs, Kartini Sjahrir, who joins me via satellite in Jakarta. Kartini, the climate crisis bears a large impact on the oceans. As we know, this plays a significant role in Indonesia's culture, economy and way of life. Can you describe some of these impacts and why the ocean is just so critical to Indonesia?
Hi, yes, okay. It is the climate crisis of very critical for Indonesia because we are a very unique country because we are not only one of the largest tropical forests in the world, but it's also we are the largest archipelago country in the world, which means that we are surrounded by ocean, by marine ecosystem. So what happened with the climate crisis will have a tremendous effect for our marine life. Case in point, for example, that the level of the sea surface right now increase because of the temperature of the sea is going up right now. And the result of it that is produced, is like high tidal, and that is also make our mangrove degraded, you see. And so many things happen for us. It affects the quality of life of the people. So as we know that the population of Indonesia is about 255 millions today, and almost half of it, if not more, I believe, live in a coastal area. So you can imagine what happened, with the climate change, with the climate crisis to the life of the Indonesian people.
Kartini, I'd love to dive a little deeper.
That's also, let me add a little bit what the Vice President, okay. Let me add a little bit what the statement from the Vice President Al Gore that's saying that at least 1,500 Indonesian islands will get sunk on the 2050. I have to correct that. It's close. Our data is saying that it's close to 2,000 islands, and at this moment, at least 24 islands already disappear because of the climate crisis. So it's very sad, and we are very, very concerned about that. And Indonesia, you see, consists of 17,000 islands, and that consists of the large islands and all small islands. And our concern is with the rising of the sea surface that makes that island that I mentioned to you is disappear. So yes, of course, that we thinking about this, and yes, as the Vice President Al Gore mentioned, that we are very lucky that since 2 years ago that we have a president that really want to have change, that really pay a lots of attention on the climate change and how we deal and cope with that. How do we accept that challenge? Yeah.
Very good. Well, thank you for that important update. I wanted to dive a little bit deeper, and perhaps you can just briefly describe the interrelation between the forests and the ocean, the carbon in both, green carbon and blue carbon, if you will, how those things play out and how they're interrelated.
Oh, okay. Yes, of course, it's interrelated between the land and the ocean because we have both. We are lucky to have both. Yes, that's our life coming from the land as well as from the ocean. Yeah. So I think what happened in the upstream, we call it upstream, will affect, of course, automatically to the downstream. Yeah. For example, the Bay of Jakarta. For example, we knew exactly, you see, with the increase of the population, with the urbanization, for example, that people come to the city and they build their houses along the bank of the river. Okay, and that's a lot of pressure on the land, and there is mismanagement, yeah, of using the land. I have to admit, and everybody knows, and we are very familiar with that, corruption, yeah, among other. We have to be, we are a very open government on that matter, and of course, our president fight against the corruption. It works very well, but it's happened already been for decades. And it creates pollution, it creates landsliding, it creates erosion, and then it going down to the downstream, to the ocean. And you can imagine that make our mangrove degrading. Indonesia has 3 million of mangrove. We have a seagrass, 3.1 million of seagrass, that we consist of 20% of the total mangrove in the world. And right now, we have to admit that is close to 40% already been affected. And we have to work, and it is our challenge. We have to work hard to restore it, to make it better. Because we exactly know, and people more and more realize, without thinking about their environment, either in the land or in the ocean, their survival, their food security will be threatened.
Somewhat related to the corruption standpoint that you made just then.
For us, we look at the land and the ocean in a holistic way. Yes, please.
Yes, sorry. I was saying somewhat related to the corruption is the practice of slashing and burning. This is causing a lot of the deforestation. I'm interested to hear what measures Indonesia is taking to curb this dangerous practice.
Okay. Slash and burn agriculture, slash and burn practices has nothing to do with the corruption. No, I must say no. I give you my personal experience. When I just finished graduate from the university, I worked as a researcher. So I was sent to West Kalimantan, and West Kalimantan in 1977 is forest, primary forest. It's a jungle. So we went there. Why do we need to go there? Because we have to land clearing. We have to monitor to see how the land clearing is done. And among other, to do the land clearing is through slash and burn practices. Why? Because at the time, back to 1977, there is no, carrying capacity of the land is more than adequate. And at the time also, the people in the land of East Kalimantan, for example, is only 3 people per square kilometer. So it's very remote. So when you clearing the land, you think about that this is part of development, and it is equal with growth. So you don't see, that you already destroy the environment. You already destroy the forest, which means it will affect the quality of the life of the people. No, because at the time, the people only, it's very small compared to the vast land that we have it. So for us at the time, back to 1977, look at the picture, you see, is that when you do land clearing, either by slash and burn practices, mean you do and help the people to get their food, to guarantee their food, and it means it's a part of development program part of growth, which is very different with today. Today, you cannot do that. because when you destroy your land, it means you destroy your life. So the old paradigm has to change. And this is right now is the challenge of the new Indonesia, especially under the government of President Jokowi. This is what that's the situation that we have to work very hard on it.
You have a background in anthropology and you're a firm believer in the power of women to help play a vital role in fighting, combating climate change in Indonesia. What are some of the ways that women can help contribute to this cause?
A lot about women. Okay, let me ask everyone. When we talk about women, what do we think about women? Who are they? Yeah. Do they treat them as a subject or as an object? The way that we treat, for example, nature, do they treat them, the nature, as a subject or an object? I must say as an object. We never give enough respect to women. We always put women in a peripheral position, while at the same time, women is the entity, is the human being who guarantee the human resources. Without human resources, there is no population, there is no country. Forget it about that. But we never respect about the presence of women. Yeah, I must say that loud and clear. And women with nature is one coin with two sided. They complement to each other, because it's through women that women can be the agent of change, yeah, to make our environment to be better off. Yeah, there is no question about that. Women who take care of the household, women who take care of the human resources from the very beginning, when that human is just in the form of fetus, you see, about the food, about the breastfeeding, about everything, you name it. Okay, and what we need about the role of women, which is from the very beginning is very significant, is to give them an open access to women, so they have an access for education, they have an access for health, they have an access for information. Especially right now, today, we live in an information technology, so nothing we can hide anymore. But I have an experience for so long. I'm very active in that women's organization, and I'm an activist for women issues. Is that what I notice is that the government should take a major role in making women's position in a better off. There is a lot of progress, of course, in Indonesia, but we need more and more for that. Yeah. Our leaders, from national leader down to regional, provincial leaders, has to understand about women's, about the issue of genders, yeah, not to see women as an object. For example, I have to be very open as this, and I strongly criticize, you know, in some areas, for example, once upon a time, 2 years ago, that they said that the woman who applied for the senior high school have to be checked whether they are still virgin or not. That's ridiculous. Yeah, it should not happen that way. Okay, we don't expect that way, but then it's changed. Of course, it's now. They said they abolished that regulation because that's the people said no. We should not do that. Yeah, how could we degrade women that as the main pillar of human resources with this kind of treatment? That's what I'm saying. You see. Domestic violence, for example, happen everywhere, not only in Indonesia. I heard a lot about that story. How could we allow that happen? When we are talking about environment, when we are talking about climate crisis, the same thing we talk about women's crisis. because they are
Kartini,
the same.
we are out of time.
Because only two pillars
Thank you
right
so
now
much for your...
to make all this survive. Oh, okay.
Thank you for your passion for the women and the
Okay.
environment. We
All
really
right.
appreciate everything that you do.
Thanks.